Have you ever wondered if the actions you take, maybe the decisions you make, or even the natural occurrences around you will later affect you in the future? The Crucible by Arthur Miller is full of innocent people who are haunted by the events that happened in their past. These previous occurrences even bring many in the Crucible to their death. I will better explain some of these occurrences of the people of Salem and how they were condemned. Salem is a small town with a Puritan community where everyone knows everyone and they all interact with each other on a regular basis. Once the word gets out that there are witches in Salem, the town gets a bit hysterical. Someone gets blamed for being a witch, so they think of someone else to blame, and that person blames someone else, who blames someone else, which results in an unending chain of blame. For example, Rebecca Nurse is a very pure, logical woman who has many, many children and has not lost a single one of them. On the other hand, you have Ann Putnam, who has had many children, but only one had survived childbirth. Before the witch trials begin, Ann Putnam says to Rebecca, "Let God blame me, not you, Rebecca. I'll not have you judging me any more. Is it a natural work to lose 7 children before they live a day?" Anne is already starting to question why she lost her children, but she claims that she doesn't blame Rebecca. However, as soon as the witch trials begin, the jealousy Anne holds toward Rebecca comes out and Anne threatens Rebecca of witchcraft. Another example is when Martha Corey gets arrested for witchcraft. Martha never did or said anything wrong. She simply just enjoyed reading books. But Martha's husband, Giles Corey, mentions that he wonders what books his wife reads at night, and that it distracts him from his prayers. Next thing he knows, his wife is convicted for conspiring with the devil. One of the biggest convictions is when a young Abigail Williams wants Elizabeth Proctor dead. You see, Elizabeth Proctor's husband, John Proctor, had an affair with Abigail. But John tells Abigail that it is over. Abigail is still in love with John and wants his wife dead so that he will be hers. Abigail sees the Proctor servant, Mary Warren, making a doll or a puppet. After Mary finished the puppet, she stuck her needle in the middle of the doll. Abigail witnessed the whole thing, which gave her an evil plan. For later that night, Abigail sticks herself in the stomach with a needle and falls to the ground, and claims that she saw Elizabeth's familiar spirit. So it was kind of like a voodoo doll type of thing. When Cheever, a court clerk, goes to investigate the Proctors, he finds the poppet with the needle still in the doll's stomach and says, "'Tis hard proof. I find here a poppet Goody Proctor keeps. I have found it, and in the belly of the poppet a needle stuck. I tell you true, Proctor. I never warranted to see such a proof of hell, and I bid you obstruct me not." Abigail set up Elizabeth, so that she too will be arrested and hopefully hung. All 3 of these women, Rebecca Nurse, Martha Corey, and Elizabeth Proctor, were just going about their normal lives when all of a sudden their everyday, normal events in their lives made them look guilty of conspiring with the devil. These women and so many more never confessed to being witches, so they were hanged. The court believed all of the false conclusions brought up at the trials, and it led to a disastrous end. Salem has been scarred and ruined, and the whole community has been torn apart by all the convictions, lies, and deaths. But this kind of thing doesn't just happen in plays, books, and movies. False accusations are made more often than you think in real life that have disastrous endings. For instance, Anand Syed was convicted for murdering his ex-girlfriend, but he claims that he had nothing to do with her murder. Many of his everyday events or actions ended up hurting his case and helped convict him of murder. One of the biggest things that the court and jury thought was very ironic is that Anand has a very slim recollection of the day his ex-girlfriend went missing. Anand says that it was a normal day and that nothing unordinary happened, so he doesn't remember what all he did that day. But the court views his claim as, of course he doesn't remember, how perfect. Not only does Anand's lack of memory of that day help convict him, but also the fact that Anand's friend Jay, who turned him in and is believed to know everything that happened, had Anand's car and cell phone with him on that day. Anand says that it is his fault that he is convicted, because he set himself up well by making wrong decisions and by not choosing the right friends. So if Anand really is innocent, then Jay is the one lying, but Anand's actions of that day play out with Jay's story too well for the court to not convict Anand. The thing that makes Anand look especially guilty is that Anand gets a phone call on the night of the murder, in which the person on the other end talked to both Anand and Jay, putting them together at the same place and time. To Anand, it was just a phone call he received, but to the court, it was a call that made Jay's story of Anand's thought-out plan to murder his ex-girlfriend come together. These are only a few of the everyday actions and events of Anand's life that Anand had no idea would end up to a life in prison. The Crucible and Anand's case are both examples of how drawing false conclusions may lead to a disastrous end. So always make the best and wisest decisions, because you never know if one day your previous actions will later affect and change your future forever.